Hello everybody, it's Gloria from Gigi the Crochet Queen. Welcome back to my channel, and this is just another video on the basics of crochet. My last video, I believe, I don't think I went over what's on the label of the yarn. So if you are going to make anything from a pattern, they usually tell you what type of yarn to use. This is just a big twist acrylic 100%, but I just wanted to go over what you would see on the yarn label. Usually it'll tell you the yards, and from different patterns they'll tell you how many yards they used to make a pattern. I tend not to, because I usually don't pay attention to it. I just make the pattern. But I'll give you an estimate of, if I used 1 skein or 2 skeins or whatever of yarn. So you would have the yardage, the ounce, meters, and the grams. And the European usually go towards the meters and the grams, and most Americans are using yardage. Then the label will also tell you what size needles if you are a knitter, and what size hook if you're a crocheter. And for this one, for crochet, it is an H8, which is a 5mm hook, and the weight of this yarn is 4 meters. And on the sides, I really have not paid attention, but it's 4x4, so it's telling you on a square 13 single crochets and then 14 rows should make a 4x4 square. But with crochet, everything is based on your tension. Then it tells you machine washable, low iron, do not bleach, do not tumble dry, dry flat. And all of these symbols, since they've changed the symbols, I really haven't learned them. But that tells you the water temperature, and then the iron, and these I really don't know. But if you know all these symbols, somebody leave me a comment and let me know. Now, the one thing I do like about the big twist, and I think I said it in my other video, is that it gives you an idea of how much yarn you will need for each project. So this is a hat and a scarf, it looks like. So you would need 3 skeins per project. That's just the hat 1. Then an adult size sweater is 6. And if you're making a large blanket, is 13. And then, of course, you want to know what the color is. So that is another. And if you're interested in where your yarn is made, this is made in Turkey. It's very soft yarn. Most of the yarn that I've gotten from Turkey, I don't think I've ever gotten any that wasn't of good quality, but they definitely have good quality yarn in Turkey. So I think that covers what you would see on a label. And most labels have the same information. So now let's go over slip knots. Now, there are many ways to make slip knots. From me watching a lot of YouTube, I see people doing their slip knots different ways. This is the easiest way for me to do a slip knot. So this is your tail. And I take my yarn and I wrap it around either 2 or 3 fingers, and I wrap it, and then I cross over like that. I take my hook, and I am using my Clover 5.0mm H hook. So you take your hook, you go under that one, you grab the one in the back, and you pull it, and you take your fingers away, and you pull the yarn, and you have your knot. And that's a slip knot. And you can pull your working end of the yarn to make it tighter. So that is a slip knot. So I will do it again. And as I said, people do slip knots differently. This is the easiest way for me to do it. So again, I wrap the yarn, and this is considered your working end because it's coming from either your ball or your skein. So that this end is considered your working end, and this end is just your tail. So you take your yarn, you wrap it under and across, and I grab it with my ring finger, and I take my needle, my hook, go under and grab the yarn in the back, and you pull it through to get your slip knot. There's your slip knot. Now, another thing you do with this is the magic ring, magic circle, and I've had people ask me, how do you do one? Again, I do the same thing as I would do if I was making a slip knot. I grab the yarn, I pull it through, I twist it around, then I grab the working tail, and I take my fingers out, and I make a chain to hold it. And I will just do 2 more chains, and I will show you. I'm just going to do some double crochets. So a double crochet, let me go and just do this one. So you yarn over, go into your ring, grab the yarn, pull it through. You have 3 stitches on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is a double crochet. Now the reason this is called a magic circle or a magic ring is that you take your tail and you pull it close, and then that will give you your closure. I have seen other crocheters that will do a magic circle in a different kind of way, which makes it a little bit more secure. I have always done my magic circles this way, and when it loosens up, I just pull my tail some more and tighten it again, and then at the end I usually have a longer tail so that I can weave it in to make it even more secure. So now let's do some chain stitches. So let's start with the slip knot again. Now the key to chaining is your tension, and your tension is how you hold your working end of the yarn. And if you are new to crochet, sometimes it takes a while. I know for me it took a while to get my tension where my chains were what's the word, the same chain. I can't think of the word, it'll come to me. But what I usually do, sometimes I go put my working yarn over my pinky and then over my index, and I hold the tail and I yarn over, and you pull through the loop on that you just made. Yarn over, pull, and make it, that's a chain stitch. So you're just yarning over and pulling through the loop. Yarn over, pull through the loop. Yarn over, pull through the loop. And what I usually do is I do 5 in a row. And doing 5 in a row, if you're doing a very long chain, if you do 5 in a row, then if you miscount, you can always go back and look if you are stuck. So if you do 5 in a row, for me it's easier if I'm doing a long chain, because if I'm doing 5, 5, 5, then I'll be able to count how many chains I have. So after I do the 5, I'm going to move up. So I'm going to take my hand off of the tail, my finger I should say, and then grab my last chain. I know I have 5 chains. And I'll start again. And as you can see, I've already taken the yarn off of my pinky because it just, sometimes it stays, sometimes it doesn't. When you move, of course, it's going to come off. But you only really need to have it like this. Some people wrap it around multiple times. I usually wrap around multiple times when I'm working on amigurumis because I'm working with smaller yarn. Okay, so as I was saying, you just need to definitely have the yarn between 2 fingers. Some people do 3 fingers, some people wrap it several times. But what you want to do, this finger that the yarn is wrapped around and between the other finger guides the yarn, and it helps you with your tension. So if you hold your yarn too tight, and you're going to struggle to get it your stitches done. I am not a tight crocheter, so I usually have my yarn a little loose. I don't hold it tight between my 2 fingers. And sometimes, you know, it'll slip off, and you just wrap it back around your finger and keep going. So again, this is just a chain stitch. You yarn over, pull it through the loop, yarn over, pull it through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop. And the more you watch people crochet, you will see people crochet differently. So again, I usually do, if I'm doing a long chain, I usually do 5 chains at a time so I can try to keep a better count of how many I've finished. So that is the chains, and as you can see, they are symmetrical. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Pretty much the same from top to bottom, and that is important. Sometimes you might get a pattern that says chain loosely because you will have to work into those chains to make maybe 2 stitches in one or some other reason, but basically this is your chain. And if you do your slip stitch right, it'll just pop loose. So again, we'll just do how to start the slip stitch. Go under, cross over, put the finger over to hold the yarn, go under the yarn, grab the back yarn, and pull through. And we will do a chain again. So yarn over, pull through the loop, 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 yarn over, pull through the loop. And you have 5 chains. And that is so you want to practice so that you can make sure your chains are all the same, because it does make a huge difference when you're making an outfit. You have a big chain like that, then you have a tiny chain like that, another tiny one like that, and then you have another big chain like that. That's all based on tension, and that's not what you want. You want your chains to be symmetrical. Even when you're doing them loosely, you still want them to be symmetrical. So that is it. Oh, let's do the magic circle again. And again, this is just the way. And I think of the magic circle as just a loose slip stitch. That's how I think of it. And that first chain usually does not count because that is the chain that you use to secure it. And you can tighten it up to give yourself the knot. And then do a chain 1 or a chain 2 or chain 3, depending on what stitch you're making. So let's just do double crochets, yarn over, go into the magic circle, grab your yarn, pull it through, 3 stitches on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is your double crochet. And again, when you get however many stitches you need in your magic circle, you pull the tail to close it up. So that is the lesson for today. And then we'll start to make maybe a granny square on the next one. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Keep crocheting. Bye-bye.